has a girlfriend and a boyfriend.
Oh my
I
God.
knew it. I
Oh
knew it
God.
was coming. I knew it was coming.
What?
I know this girl.
The my charts around this bitch is crazy.
Not my
Like,
charts.
yes, because because a lot of
Hello and welcome to the UnDateable Me Podcast. I am your host, the undateable Jimmy Lee Lard, the sock snob, and this is our weekly show that deals with the struggles of relationships and dating. But we don't just deal with the problems. This is a journey to find solutions, and we do it in a very entertaining way because Holly curses a lot, and I'm an angel. We are also very vulnerable around these parts as well. I'm telling you all of my business as usual. So you can just dig in. But in this particular episode, Holly and I are interviewing a very special guest, and we are talking about poly love. That's right, more than a couple and possibly more than a throuple. Would you consider a poly relationship? Let's go. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Before we begin, it's not just me. It's not just me and Holly. We have a special guest on today. Saint, welcome to our show. We are going to be
Thank
having a
you.
nice little conversation, and you are our very, very, very first guest on the show. So we want to give you a round of applause for that. Now, you all, let me tell you. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
I was like, oh, I'm popping cherries. Yay!
Yep. So, as you heard from the title, we are talking about poly love. And in this journey that we're on, where we're trying to find solutions to our struggles with dating and relationships, we want to make sure that we're not limiting ourselves. We've talked about that in some previous episodes, how we, with preconceived notions of things, will limit ourselves. And we want to try and operate in a position of knowledge as best as we can. And that is why we have Saint here, who is going to be telling us all about her very personal experiences with poly love. And I know her story, but I think you all would benefit from it. So she is in a poly relationship, and she's going to give us some insight, a little bit of education, and we're going to take it in phases. So we're going to start off just getting to know her particular poly group. What do you call your group, by the way, or when it's a group?
It's a polycule.
A polycule, did you say?
A
Okay.
polycule, yeah.
Okay, very good. All right. But before we dig into, find out who all is in the group, I want to start at the very beginning because you are married.
Correct. Yes, I am.
All right. So there is I'll say hubby number one. So how long have you and hubby number one been married?
Okay, hubby number one and I have been together and married now for 24 years. It was July 1st.
Years.
It would be 24 years.
Nice. Okay, very good.
24 years?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep. So 24 years. And this was originally just your traditional marriage, you and hubby number one, correct?
Correct.
But at some point, something changed. How did we go from a traditional marriage and move into a poly relationship?
Well, what happened was I got sick, and in my sickness, there were certain things that I was not able to do for my husband,
Hmm.
uh, intimate wise and being physical with him. So I did not, I was sitting there thinking that it's not fair that just because I can't do these things, that he shouldn't be able to do these things.
Hmm.
And I don't want to take that away from him just because I can't do it.
Yep.
I don't feel that's fair. I didn't feel that it was right. And I wanted him to be able to still have those experiences, even if I couldn't give him those.
Yes.
Did he ever mention that to you?
No, it was, I brought it up to him. And actually, when I did, he kind of looked at me and he was shocked because it's not something that you typically would hear from a wife to a husband.
Yeah. And also, this could have been this could have gone a different way, or your suggestion could have gone a different way, because you could have just suggested, or given him, like, a pass to go and just be with somebody else. But it sounds like this was a little bit more than that. Why is that?
Well, I brought it up to him first, as you said, kind of like a hall pass.
Okay.
But he said he didn't want to engage in a relationship like that. He actually wanted, if he was going to be with somebody else, he wanted to actually know them, have a
Mhm.
relationship with them, and have a connection with them. He didn't want to have a fleeting fling. He was past that, in his age and in his experiences in life.
Yeah. And so, first of all, let me tell you, I think it's very thoughtful that you uh, even presented him with options. And then I think already we are sort of breaking what some of those misconceptions about any poly relationships might be. So, first and foremost, a lot of people, you get this whole, oh, they're just freaky. Oh, they just love sex. Oh, they just this and so on, right? But here, and also, let me say this. I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with folks who enter into poly relationships for those reasons either, right?
Yeah,
But
because it started. She said it kind of sounded like it started off like that, like it because she couldn't do that physically.
right, yeah.
She gave him that
Yeah,
leeway.
but even so, a lot of people approach it from this perspective of, oh, the what is it? Nymphos. Remember that old term, nymphos? Like, oh,
Yeah.
there's some
Mm,
nymphos, or
hmm.
they this or whatever, right? But that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the case. Here was a situation where there were things that she was not, because of medical reasons, not able to fulfill,
Right.
and she didn't want to deny him, and a very important aspect of life. So then she first presented it as, an option of a hall pass, but he's like, no. And that's where I get into now the second misconception that sort of, peeled away,
Right.
is that from his perspective, he was like, no, I'm more of a relationship person, and I don't want to just go out and, fool around. I want to be able to get to know somebody.
But does
So,
that make it worse though? Because it's like, now you going to like really have feelings for somebody else, really have that connection with somebody else versus his, oh, he just need to get his rocks off.
well, Saint, then I'll ask you this, because it sounds like you moved from the uh, idea of a hall past the two of you. And now, then, that you've settled on the idea of this being an actual relationship, how then do you factor into that?
Well, in the poly community, I can be what would be called a meta,
Hmm.
which would be I am friends with the person that my husband is dating.
Okay.
I'm They're my meta, I'm their meta. We're not in a relationship together, but we do have a friendship, and we do coexist in each other's space in life.
Hmm. Because and this may be jumping ahead, because eventually you all
Mhm.
end up living together.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So in this case, then the husband is sort of the link then between you and the other person.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you feel like if you wouldn't have gave him that option, that if you feel like you wouldn't have gave him that option, do you think that infidelity would have came in play eventually?
That was in my thought process when I was thinking about it, because you see it, it's very, out there and prevalent in the world. And
Mhm.
instead of you having to sneak around and go behind my back and maybe wash your dick in the sink, from a, sleazy encounter or whatever, I would rather you be safe and know that yes, my husband is doing this, but I know about it and I'm okay with it, and I'm okay with it because of these reasons.
Yeah.
I understand, and just because my husband may have feelings or is connecting with this person doesn't mean he stopped connecting or stopped loving me.
Right.
We can love multiple people. We love multiple children. We don't love just one child. We
Uh,
don't love just one parent.
yeah, I've heard people say that, right? People also people I've heard people say that, oh, you can, love your sibling, you can love your child, you don't love one child more than the other, or you don't put your spouse above your children or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But in reality, that's a different type of love. It's a
That
emotional,
is true.
sexual connection that you have. So, and just my opinion, I wouldn't be able to compare that type of love. Do you
Well,
think that what was my question? Do you so okay, so you said that that infidelity part did play a role in the factor of you wanting to go ahead and be like, okay, well, at least I know. Did that make you feel any better that you knew versus you thinking that you didn't know? Is more of a thing like, ignorance is bliss? Or was you more okay with it being um like, okay, I know I gave him permission. Were you like taking the power from it versus like him going
But
off doing what he wanted to do?
I could, thinking about it, I probably, now hindsight is 2020. Probably you're right. Probably wanted to take the sting out of it because I would rather know
mm-hmm.
and be okay with it than not know and find out and be devastated.
Yeah.
But isn't it devastation like
And
either way or no? Because it's like whether you
to
know or not,
me,
it's
it's
still being
not.
done.
It is, but it doesn't. I don't know. I always say I've been just raised different. Not raised different, but I'm just different in my thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It doesn't feel like betrayal to me if I go, okay, you go on, you can, and I'm okay with you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me. I am, what I like to say, sexually mature enough to understand the difference between sex and love. And I do understand that love can be shared among other people. And how I liken that is you have a spouse, you live with them, you love them, they pass away, and then you move on to a new spouse. You love that spouse too, but you don't love them like you loved your last spouse. You can't because they're not the same people.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a different type of love play in it. But then again, at this point, if he wants to build a connection with somebody, then it's just not sex. Now
Well,
it's an emotional connection to this person along with sex.
and,
Which I'm fine with
right. That's
because
what I was just
I
about to
don't,
say, because when you mentioned your thought process, it wasn't that a poly situation was ever off the table for you, correct or no?
correct.
Very good. Okay. And I think that makes a difference that this is
So
already open to that
you were
idea.
okay.
Yes, I was already open to that. I don't consider this my lifestyle. I consider it my love style.
Yes.
This is
Okay.
how I love.
And what's the difference between the two?
I, a lifestyle, you just living it and, you just go through the motions. But when it's your love style, you really learn to understand it's more than just three couples or there's these two, this couple dating this one person. It's beyond that. It's family.
Yeah.
And I know people may not understand that, going,
Mhm.
well, how can you guys be family? You're this married couple and there's this stranger coming in. But when you get to know people, like my Meta, I know her.
Yeah.
I love her. I adore her to death.
And,
She's good people's.
and I think that may be the piece, Holly, that you're missing in this dynamic.
Right.
Because it's not just that he has been given permission to have a relationship over there.
Right.
This is somebody that she knows. There's a relationship between the three of them.
Right.
The sexual part is between him and her, but there's relationship because sex is not the only, we push sex and everything, right? But that's not the hell. In a lot of cases, that's 5 minutes of your day.
Exactly.
Right. Not you, Jordan. Jordan is engineering our session over here. Not you, Jordan. We know.
Well,
But
it's like, what do you do when you both are 80 years old and you can't have sex?
yeah,
But see,
What
that's
do you
when that
have after that?
right. But it kind of started off like, your story started off with because of the medical reasons. That's the reason why you gave the hall pass. I mean, not the hall pass, but the okay to enter into this lifestyle.
Just,
I think is
exactly.
that something that you always believed in or something you grew up in in a poly community?
I know.
or
I
thought it
never.
out?
Now, I think I have been like this since I was about 16 or 17, and I believe and wholeheartedly this came from watching my father cheat on my mother constantly,
Mhm.
and I'm like, why? And I watched my mother put up with it. I'm like, if you're gonna do that, then why not just say, hey, we have an interest in the same man. Let me get to know you. We don't have to be enemies because he's still here. He's still taking care of our kids, and he's still being the man of the house.
Yeah.
And
So,
I,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, and I just started thinking, well, they don't have to be enemies. Why are we always fighting? And why do we as a collective believe in ownership? I don't
Mhm.
own my husband. He doesn't belong to me.
Shit, I signed that paperwork coming out the motherfucking courthouse. Bitch, I own you. The fuck? I own you, the dick, and everything that come with it.
And by the way,
That's what my
say
husband said to me when we came out the courthouse.
the
Bitch, I own you now.
the Jordan that we're talking about happens to be her husband, by the way. So he's
Oh,
sitting here shaking his head as we
So do
as
you?
we speak.
I guess I'm just trying to
but
understand. Like, don't think that I'm being combative or because I
oh no,
feel like
no.
do you feel like that because you watched your father cheat on your mother for so long, or whatever the case might be, that kind of played into like maybe some childhood trauma of being like, okay, well, a nigga gonna fuck a motherfucker anyway, so I might as well just go ahead and just let it happen. But going back to it
I
made you
honestly, you
feel
know
better
what?
because you said it, but it kind of doesn't, because it's like you don't want that person to do that. You know what I mean? You really don't
I
want that in your heart, but because you are afraid, you just like, well, they gonna do it anyway, so let them go ahead. Because what
see
are you getting out of that
that
now at this point?
that actually is true. That's how it started.
Mhm.
But the more I started to do research and the more I started to look into it, the more my prejudices and my shallow and narrow thoughts started to dissipate
Yeah.
about this about what poly is and what it can be. Because you can have a platonic poly relationship too,
Yeah.
where you never have intimacy, but this person's emotionally there for me when my other mate can't be.
Right. And like you said, Jimmy, I don't want to just put it off all on sex either.
Yeah.
I don't want the person that I love or I want to be with for the rest of my life to even have those intimate moments and be laughing with another motherfucker.
And
Like,
even sex aside though, I think, Holly, I think there's still a link there that you're not acknowledging, and that is, again, there is relationship
Well,
of
all
one
three.
type of another with
Right.
the other person as well, right?
Right.
Now, see what Holly said, she doesn't want anybody to have that experience with her. And me, I'm like, I want you to share that because I know what that feels like and it's beautiful. So I feel like if we send out more love comes back. I know I'm a hippie, but that's just my thought process on it.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong
I
with it.
try to be positive and I want to give love out into the world. And
Right.
because I want love back. And I just figure, we're all on this journey together, on this,
Hmm.
dirt rock we call Earth. Why do we have to make it hard for each other?
Mhm.
Why can't we just love each other, make this journey easier for each other so that whenever we get to whatever's on the other side, we can say, hey, we were good peoples. We helped each other. We loved each other and it was a good time.
Okay.
So right now we are at sort of square one, the beginning. So
Mm,
it's you, hubby number one.
yeah.
There's now a new person that's been added. Now, with that person, was there ever an attempt to bring all three of you together closer? I'm trying to be nice about saying like
Okay.
sexually.
No, it's all right. So with my first husband's second wife,
Hmm.
um, we did date for a little bit, but it just, we found that we were better friends than we were
Okay.
lovers.
Okay. And
So there was that.
then that would also then beg the question. I'm assuming then that you're just not heterosexual, that perhaps there's uh, either bi or pan or something to that as well
I'm
for you.
bi. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I am bi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Eh,
always know that, or you realized that once, like later on?
Oh, I wrote since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I've known.
yeah. Yeah. And also too, I think that adds again, there's layers to this, right?
Yeah.
Because when you just think about any relationship where there's a person who's bi,
Hmm.
if this was just a monogamous relate one person on one-on-one situation, there's a
Mhm.
whole aspect of yourself that you're possibly denying.
Right. So you're
So
exploring.
yeah, so that and again, not saying that that is the case here, but that's one that I think that we should uh also, because I'm when I'm approaching this, I'm looking at all of the things that we have perceived about poly love
Right.
that's just wrong, right? And it's from our monogamous perspective, or
Right.
it's from what and I want to make sure that because there might be somebody who is considered it, but maybe they
Or
haven't crossed
ashamed,
that
or
line for
yeah,
that reason, right? Yeah,
or just
so
don't know knowledgeably about it.
exactly.
And honestly, the representation that is on TV for it isn't exactly the greatest
Yes, right.
at
Because we
all.
are seeing more. However, the reason I love your story so much is because I think it sheds or gives us a different perspective, sheds a different type of light. This is not, what is that show, Sister Wives
Sister
or whatever,
Wives, Big
Sister
I've
House,
Wives,
never seen
Mormon
it, but I don't know.
Wives,
yeah,
Yeah. So,
what was it, Big Love or
Big
whatever
Love.
that
That's what it was.
was?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
So it's nothing like that.
no,
Yeah.
it's not like that at all.
And
Because
so,
like some of these shows that they show these beautiful people and you have to be beautiful
yeah.
and they have these parties and no,
I don't
no,
know. Kobe Wives
no.
is ugly.
And I think too, I don't know who this person is that you're talking about,
Sister
so I won't
Wives.
speak on it. But
So are you talking about Cody Brown
I don't know. On
from
Sister
Sister
Wives,
Wives?
TLC, all
Yeah,
them
Cody
wives is
Brown.
ugly.
yeah,
Cody Brown.
well, I think too, television, you need extremes to attract an audience. So
Mhm.
I think that that might be part of that. But let's then, so we're at square one. How does this now
Okay.
expand from three people? So there has to at some point be somebody
Okay.
else.
So hubby number one's second wife has a husband.
And Holly, are you keeping up with the
Every time
numbers?
I'm looking
So
up like
she,
one. I'm glad you
we
explained
look
it
at
ago.
her as
She the mainstream.
I'm not gonna say poly zero, but you know she is
Foundation.
We'll call her the foundation.
Yeah.
Foundation. And so there's hubby number one,
which started off as her original husband.
right? So the other person now is his second wife.
But she's married.
Yeah.
Now that's what we just got into. Yes.
Was she married when you got together, or she?
Yes.
Oh, so she was.
Yes, she was, and we all have the same last name.
What in the court
coincidentally?
system?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. Saint, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like, Williams or
no?
Like
don't say
name. Well, no, was it a common black person name?
Well,
you don't have to say
it has to be a common name. Period. I would imagine
it's a common name.
Yeah.
It's a very common name.
Yeah. So that I did not know. That adds such a I don't know, a unique element to this. Yeah, that's a twist I was not expecting. So, okay, so now, his second wife has a husband.
Yes.
So
and
now
they have let's see, how old is he now? He's 14 now. Their son, he's 14 now.
Very good. So we have a child. Who?
Oh, so they got a child. The
second wife and her husband have a child.
Okay. How did she tell her husband, or they was down for it already?
They were already in the community, and we just happened to meet them in a community Facebook group.
Yeah. Listen. So remember when I was telling you when Holly and I did, well, actually this has come across in a couple episodes. And I've said, you know, there are groups and communities out here for everything you can think of. So if there's something that you're interested in, more than likely there is a group out here for it, or a community out here for it to support, to help educate, help, facilitate, and everything else. So I'm glad you said that, because I think that there may be people, whether it's this or the next thing, that people are, sort of thinking about, curious about, but they're like, I can't go and ask my mother. She doesn't know. Can't ask my pastor. He doesn't know. You can ask Jimmy. You can ask me anything. So I'm glad to know that there is, community support out there. Well. So,
yeah. Yes, there is actually, and they're like, you can find groups in every state.
Yep. I would imagine so. Whether it's this or anything else, fetish community, gay, lesbian, whatever, there, people face things alone, limit themselves, deny themselves when there is actually support out there for you. So,
I'm in some groups. I got a Game of Thrones group. I got a makeup group.
Now, I have a question. Did you say makeup group?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So, the makeup lifestyle or love style. Anyway.
Hey, I do it too.
Yes.
I do it too. I'm in nail groups and everything. There's a group for everything.
So I now have a question then. Now that we're talking 4 people in, how do the 4, well, and of course we have the teen as well. How does everybody get along? Like, you and her, you said, have a great relationship, but what about your hubby number one and her husband, hubby number one?
They are like brothers.
Good. Okay.
They get along. They talk. We hang out. We do all kinds of things. We're a family. It's just like a big family.
Yep. Okay. Good. So how if you
I'm,
Saint, if you could see Holly's face.
No, because I want to ask something.
Oh, oh,
go
I
ahead.
know. You know what? I read minds as well. You want to ask if the husbands do anything? Is that what you're about to go? Where you're about
Yes,
to
because
go?
then because then the
No,
ladies is like, oh
No.
yeah, nah, husbands,
no,
you know, you ain't
no,
gonna,
no.
you can't suck dick for me. I can't eat no coochie for you.
Oh Lord.
But I mean, okay.
No, I feel you. I feel what Holly's saying, though. I
Yeah.
feel it. But no, they are not. They don't. They're just like me and Metas. They're just
Okay.
friends.
So
They
they
don't
just regular.
interact and never. Yeah, they've never done anything like that. They're both
See,
very straight.
see, Holly, how easy it is to dip back to sex like that. That
You right.
cannot be the driving force for everything. Like I said, those.
Like,
You said what?
some people. I was going to say some people, find it weird that we go on family vacations together. We go on trips together. We go
Yeah.
out and eat together. We go to the movies together. We go to each other's families' houses together.
Yeah.
No, if y'all friends, I mean, they've built a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
That's not weird.
And that was actually going to bring me to my next question about social outings. How are you all in public when it's, going to a movie together or whatever? Are there stares, or would nobody even know because they would just assume that this couple and this couple are together or
Yeah.
whatever,
When we first go out, there's nobody stares, but it's when they see, me kiss my first husband and then kiss my second
Yes.
husband.
That
Or they see my first husband kiss me and then kiss, his second wife,
Yeah.
and then she kisses her first husband, and that's when the stares start.
That's
Like,
what
oh,
I
what's
was gonna
going
ask.
on?
Do you guys shy? Well, clearly you do not. I was about to ask, do you shy away from public displays of affection or no? Now, I have a question for
No.
you because I haven't. Oh my God, he
Wait,
is
because
going
I ain't
to
gonna
kill me
wait
for
real
saying
quick,
this.
because I ain't gonna get over this. Do
Okay.
y'all fuck with people when y'all out in public and be like, "Hey, give me a kiss"?
Yes.
Turn around and be like,
That's
"Give me a kiss."
exactly okay. So, Saint, that is exactly what I was about to
I'm
ask
sorry,
you.
Jimmy.
And how it's so I knew you were about to say it.
Boom, we here
Right.
with it.
And the reason what I was bringing up about my ex, you know the
Him
one.
who should
Okay.
not be named.
Okay. So, when we would be out in public, if there was anybody that he even thought would be, annoyed or whatever by, gay affection or whatever, oh, he would go out of his way to get a kiss from me at that moment, just to get under people's skin, And that's what I was why I was wondering if there was any of that there. So,
Yes. We do mess with people from time to time.
I'm not
It's
mad.
like, if you're going to stare, we're going to give you something to stare at.
Okay.
So,
I love it. I love it. Now,
Mhm.
so we're 4 people in, but that's not where this group ends.
Oh, no.
So,
Not at all.
how then does it expand further?
So, okay. So, my husband and his second wife and her husband and their son, we all live in the same house together.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, my first husband and I have our bedroom. Their son has his bedroom, and then the other couple has their bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just so everybody understands the sleeping arrangements,
Right.
and they don't
Oh
think we
my
all just
God.
doggy
That's
piled.
always the question. Yes. What's the sleeping arrangement? That was like
Is there a
number one
schedule?
question on the Facebook post I did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and I know some people are going to want to know, well, how do you guys intermingle if it's like this? Well, second wife, her husband's a truck driver, so he's gone over the road. So hubby number one will go into her room and they'll,
Mm-hmm.
spend the night, spend time sleeping there, whatever. The teenager, he's in his room with the door closed. He's
Yeah.
probably in there touching himself or whatever. He's at that age. So he don't care about what's going on.
Right.
He just wants to be left alone.
Right.
So, but how we expand is now we have my second husband, who I've known now for, since 2018.
Okay.
And
So, Holly, you weren't
I,
expecting a second husband for her, were you? See,
I, would it be her
Holly.
third husband?
No.
Because then
No,
the other
because
ladies.
that's not her. The other lady's husband is not her husband. So
Okay.
she has hubby
no,
number
we're just
one, and
one.
now we're talking about hubby number two, which is somebody
Which is
completely
Different.
different from the folks we've talked about
different.
so far.
Yes. So we started building our relationship and our connection. And how it happened is puppy number two lived in another state.
Mhm.
And I started flying back and forth, just, seeing how things would go. And things, started, snowballing pretty fast. And so, okay, how can I explain this and make it sound like it's not crazy? Because so you know my story. So
Yes.
so hubby number one, second wife, her husband and their son moved to another state for job purposes. My job I could not transfer yet, so I had to stay here. And second hubby didn't want me to be alone, so he came down here and moved to where I live. So we live together right now, just him and I, with my brother and his wife. And then the rest of the family lives in their other state where they're at.
Wait, so where's your first husband?
He's with his second wife and them in the other state.
But before Holly's mouth drops, there are plans to all consolidate though at some point, correct?
Okay,
Yes.
so he didn't
Yes.
went
Yes.
off with the other lady because her husband is on the road.
No, that's not. No.
Yes.
So both the first hubby number one
Okay.
and
The
the
First set of couples.
yes, their job required them to move.
So the first set
To
moved.
transfer to me.
Right. And then of course
Yes.
we still have and her husband is a truck driver, so that part hasn't changed. But for those they had
Yeah.
to move for work purposes.
Right. So where is Saint's husband?
Saint, that's one of the husbands that's there. So it's now in that state, and correct me if I'm wrong, Saint, it is hubby number one plus the
lady.
I just keep referring to her as so, but he considers her his wife,
if you
correct?
like.
He
Yes.
Okay, very good. So his wife,
Or what you could say in the poly community, when you have a second mate, you call them your OSO. OSO.
OSO. Okay, very good.
Other significant other.
Gotcha. Okay, very good.
Okay, so his OSO, the OSO, Saint's first husband.
Yes.
And the kid and the truck driver then moved.
Yes.
So Saint is there by herself.
Yes.
So
Saint,
she didn't call her back up. Like,
so Saint was by herself and he did not. Now her hubby number two did not want her there by herself in that state. So he moved there to support her and be with her.
Okay. Why didn't hubby number one stay with you?
For work purposes, he had
his
to go.
job.
So
hubby
what the
number
lady
one.
moved? So what the lady moved for?
They worked at the same place.
And also they worked at the same company.
Yeah.
And the company transferred them both.
So he worked with this lady before?
No, they got the job after they moved in with us and stuff.
I was going to say all this motherfucker then playing all type of shit.
Wait, in Real Housewives of Atlanta fashion, this was a scheme
in front of
that Tom set up.
Like, you bitches trying to play me, huh? Oh, okay. Well, I got hot for you, girl. I was going to say.
That is too
girl, no. If it came down to that, I'd have been like, you got to go. Okay, you ain't gonna play me stupid.
Right, because
I may be a lot of things, but
yeah, but you was quick with it. You called up boo number two, like, hey, let's go.
But see, that also brings me into another question. At all these points, there's another person added. Is there discussion about, say, hubby number two being sort of brought into the fold?
Well, yes, there was a discussion. They everybody wanted to meet him, get to feel him out, because there is a child involved, and we're not just going to bring people into this child's life, and that could be dangerous or could just be gone in a heartbeat.
Yes.
We don't do that.
Right.
Because overall, when we sat down and we talked about this, even before second hubby was ever a factor, was our focus was to always make sure that the child was okay, protected, safe, didn't hear, things that they shouldn't be hearing or seeing things they shouldn't be seeing. Like we kiss in front of him. He understands that, and he understands why. But we don't, do anything other, than that, like which you wouldn't do anything, crazy in front of your children. Yeah. Maybe kiss and give a hug, but that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
no more than any
thinking
kid
about
could
him.
see from any parent.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he have a hard time with
always
friends?
No, well, I can't say no, because he's got autism, so he's always had a hard time with friends, and he likes to be by himself.
Okay.
But if he did have friends, we would be careful, because not everybody is understanding.
Yes.
Right.
Kids can be cruel, and their parents can be cruel too.
Yeah.
And we didn't want him to become a focal point for bullying.
Right.
And maybe that's why people like that, with that lifestyle, live in their own like little community.
Yeah. And
pretty much.
Yeah. And as it relates to
people, I was going to say, and some people have misconceptions. They think we're swingers, and we're not.
Right.
And I don't want their misconceptions to be pushed off on to this child, right. And have him not understand what's going on. Why is he being picked on for what his parents do? Right. So we're very careful when it comes to him.
And as it relates to the teen, how does he refer to everyone? Because right now we have five adults and then one teen. So how does he refer to the different adults in the group?
Well, mom and dad are mom and dad. He calls me by my first name. He calls my other two husbands by their first name. Yeah. So, but he knows what we are, and he's respectful. I don't mind him calling me by my first name. I told him, call me by my first name. That's who I am.
Yeah. How's discipline? What's discipline like?
Meaning
his mother does not. His mother does not believe in physical punishment of any kind, because she was physically punished and she doesn't like it. But we do reprimand him. We tell him he better knock it off. We ground him. We take away stuff from him. We all do. They told us
tear that ass up
to have consistency. Yep.
Verbally,
consistency across the board.
Yeah, and
I'm
that
like
can
Polly.
come
I
from...
believe in putting a foot in it.
Now that can come from anybody in the group, right?
Yes. If he's not behaving correctly, he is to be corrected.
Okay. Yeah.
But just not with physical, physical stuff.
I'm good with that. Yeah. I'm good
and
either way.
He really doesn't need that, because he's really actually pretty good.
Yeah, because y'all outnumber him. I'd be like, shit, I can't do the fucking thing around here. I can't sneak out. I can't. Who am I blaming it on?
No. You can't sneak out. You're the only child in the house, so if something breaks, it's probably you.
All right.
But
so Saint.
He's also got a great support system, so if he ever needs anything, he's got 5 adults he can come to.
Good.
That's good.
Or 4 adults.
Yep.
5 adults. Yeah.
Now, there are 5 adults, 1 teen. Does it end there?
No.
Okay. So how does the group then expand further?
Because
get my hand ready for Holly's mouth.
His hubby number 2 has a girlfriend and a boyfriend.
Oh my
I knew it. I
goddamn
knew it
God.
was coming. I knew it was
What?
coming. I know this girl.
My charts around this bitch is crazy.
Not my
Like,
charts.
yes, because because a lot of people in these communities are super safe, like when it comes to like, I would assume, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, God damn.
Well, yeah.
Yes, and we are very safe. We test.
Mhm.
We wear protection.
Are y'all wear protection?
Yes.
Why?
When there's this kind of involvement, you're supposed to trust everybody, but you know how it is.
Hey, shit. Listen, I'm with you.
So just like she was supposed to take her pill, and she told you she did, but she didn't. Nah,
that part. Yep.
Right there. No, you ain't gonna catch me.
So you don't want anybody having kids like with your first husband?
Oh, I don't mind if they have children. I have children. I just don't want no diseases.
Right.
I'm with you on that. I don't want no babies and I don't want no STDs either. But I get it.
I can't have babies, so I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, it's okay.
So that's probably a good thing for you too. So it's, since you can't have kids, it's like since you guys have this community, you able to love on other people's kids and get their ass back.
Well, at least
Yep,
the one.
that's exactly what I do too.
Right.
Yep, I'm like, here, let me spoil you, let me fill you full of sugar and give you all this stuff, and now you go back to your mama.
Right. Yep. Wait, so she has Shall
I help you?
I think we should break this down for the viewers.
I can do that.
Okay.
Well, Saint obviously can, but just in case.
Foundation.
Foundation, we have Saint. Saint has hubby number 1. Hubby number 1 has his also, and his also has her husband. Saint,
which is his meta.
Right. Yes. Now with Saint, when they or Saint expanded herself now with her hubby number 2, who who resides with her. And hubby number 2 now then has a girlfriend and a boyfriend.
So do all those three is them her 2 boyfriends? Or I mean is
he would be the link between the 2 of them.
Those 2, yes. Because how it is I only have relations with hubby number 1 and hubby number 2. That's it. Oh. Hubby number 1 has relations with me and his second wife.
Yes.
That's it. Second wife has relations with her husband and my husband number 1. That's it. Okay. Hubby number 2 has relations with me, his girlfriend and boyfriend, and that's it. Now, as far as his girlfriend and boyfriend are concerned, they have relationships with each other, and relations with each other, and him, and that's it.
So hubby number 2 is bisexual.
Yes.
Okay.
And by
just
the way,
for the viewers, I want the viewers to understand, I am the only person of color in the Polycule.
Oh my goddamn God.
Holly.
I knew it. I knew it. Hey, sister. I knew this was some white people shit.
No, you shut up, Holly.
You didn't get your black ass over there fucking with these white people.
Oh my God.
Hey, but like you say, hey, you like it, I love it. It sounds so like interesting and like
after
free.
all that, the point I was about to make is dry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, the one point I was gonna make in this is that one group that I think is heavily underrepresented or not given as much strength as some of the other groups is the bisexual community.
Yes,
because with guy, in our community at least, you'll hear if there's a guy who likes both men and women, he can be with 10 women, 10 female male relationships in a row, sleeps with one man, and then I knew he was gay. Not that he's bi, but gay, right? So, and here in this dynamic, we have at least multiple people who are truly bisexual, and that is, like I said, just an under. I don't know. I just don't think you all get your due. We focus on the L and the G, and a
People
lot
skip
of
right over the
T.
B
That B is just out there,
because
just
every
dangling.
But the
so
thing is we're considered greedy because we like
Hmm.
both.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm just like, I can't help what I'm attracted to.
Right.
I'm not trying to steal something from you or take this away from you. And I'm not out here having Diddy parties. So,
Right. Listen, I would have gone to one of those Diddy parties, and
oh no.
I would have gone to that back room. I'd be slipping on baby oil.
I'm allergic to baby oil. So,
I'm joking.
I'd have been Jason Lee.
Oh, what was Jason?
just
Okay,
to be a fly on the wall.
No, right. Fly,
Oh,
fly.
okay.
Yeah, getting all the gossip.
Okay, very good. All right, so back to the business at hand. All right, so my next question. So we are. By the way, Holly, are you good? So we understand the seven, the dynamics of the seven. Okay, very good. Now, my next question is, are your respective families aware of your polycule?
Okay. My family knows. I don't hide anything from my family. This doesn't surprise them at all because I'm just a wild child. I've always been.
You said you were
I
hippie.
don't. Yeah, I don't hide it. There's no purpose in hiding who
Hello.
you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you happy, and I want to be happy. So yes, my family knows. My first husband, his family has suspicions, but he doesn't confirm it with them because he doesn't want to hear their preachy stuff. So he just doesn't bring it up. His second wife, her family has suspicions, but they don't ask. They like us. They're like, as long as we're treating their daughter and grandson good, they don't care. Yeah. And my second husband, they know, his family knows, and they're accepting of it because he's going to do what he wants to do anyway, and they know it. So, and as long as he's happy and he's not in danger and he's not going to get diseases or anything, they're just like, as long as you're happy, we're okay. So,
absolutely.
Shit, y'all have the cookout. Y'all have the motherfucking family right there.
Shut up.
Right? I'd be like, it ain't no party till we enter this bitch.
And let me tell you, I do tease my second husband because I'm like, there is more seasoning in this world than Mrs. Dash.
That's right, because they. Yeah.
Then there's that. All right. So I think we have the dynamics complete, both of the entire polycule. So 7 people, 1 child. We now understand that the families are aware. Anything else you can add about anything we're missing from the dynamic, or any question you have, Holly, before I get into the Facebook questions? Anything from you, Saint?
I would just like to let and just so they understand, the listeners understand, when I say we're family, what I'm serious about this is, like, I have a life insurance policy. My first husband and second husband are both on it. So if anything happens to me, they'll both be taken care of. My first husband has a policy where his second wife is on it and I'm on it. So if anything happens, she'll be taken care of and she can still continue to take care of her family and their son. And the same with my second husband. I'm on his policy. His children are on his policy. So we are truly a family. We work together. We help each other. If somebody needs something, hey, I got it. If I need it, you got it. Okay. So just so people understand, this really is a family dynamic.
Do you all have roles that maybe this person is good at this, and so they always, like, if something breaks in the house, this person is always going to be the one to do it? Or okay, see, I need that in my life.
Yeah, second wife, she's really good at organizing and paying bills and wanting to be on top of everything household wise, so that she knows what's going in and what's coming out. so that she can, make sure that we're all okay. And how we do that is we have a family account where we put in for household bills like, rent or mortgage or lights and all that. We have our side accounts, which is, for us.
Mhm.
So, like we get our personal stuff, and things of that nature. So she's good with that. Hubby number two is really good with working on cars. So he and second wife, her husband, the truck driver, is really good with cars too. So they work on the cars.
Gotcha.
My first husband's really good with computers and tech stuff, so he helps keep the internet and TVs and all that going. I'm domestic. I love cleaning house, doing laundry, washing, clothes, doing washing dishes, and
Mhm.
making sure the house is a home
Yep.
for everybody. And I love to cook, so I cook too. And she likes to cook, and her husband likes to cook too, and second husband likes to cook too. So we all share and cook in the kitchen together and help each other, that way as well.
Nice.
What is the grocery
Saint,
list like?
look, Saint coming as soon as she turns her back, adding extra seasoning and stuff. Let me stop.
Right.
I'm being silly. I'm joking.
Ain't nobody
I'm
getting no
joking.
Oh
link
yeah, I be
card or
doing
nothing, 'cause
that.
that's
Oh
a
yes,
lot
I
of
do.
food. Food is
I be
expensive.
adding extra seasoning.
But
But see, we all work, so we all pay in
yeah, that's what I was
to
just about to
to
say.
help,
Yeah,
with groceries and
I
Right.
I
things of
love it.
that nature.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that you
Everybody
said
has
that
something to do.
everybody pays their fair share, and yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
sounds like it works to me. So
Yeah,
awesome.
and we all get along. I mean, I don't want people to think that this, it's fairy tale all the time. Just like with any relationship, yeah, there's times we fight, but we come back like a family, and we talk about it, and and then we move on to the next,
Do you
hurdle that may come our way, just like any other family.
do the couples like gang up on each other, or be like, yeah, we
Ooh,
ain't
take
fucking, yeah, we
sides.
ain't fucking couple number 3 today. Yeah. They can clean up their own shit. Yeah, and then couple number 2 be like, come on, couple number 1, couple number 3, we can't be doing this. You know what I mean?
I was just like, okay, you guys are driving me crazy today. What is going on with y'all?
See,
Yeah,
see,
but see, that's no different than you and Jordan. There's
yeah,
gonna
But
be
I
some
don't.
days that
Yeah,
Jordan gets on your nerves or
yeah.
whatever.
yeah. But I don't shut people out,
Right.
and I don't target people. We don't do that. We
Yeah.
don't, target. I go in and try to talk. Like, what's going on? Why are you upset? Let's figure out the root cause so that maybe we can just nip this in the bud so it doesn't happen again.
Right. How does jealousy play a part? Do your husband be like, hey, who got better dick?
Uh,
Me or husband number 2 and number 3?
No,
my God.
Okay.
Holly,
Cause then
I've
now
never
every night I
experienced
got to
that with.
show out. For every husband, I got to really throw it back for each
Oh
one.
my
So I'm the
Yeah, I
favorite.
gotta pop that. No,
Yeah.
stop.
Everybody gonna want me. It's gonna my room. I'm gonna have a choice. They're gonna be like, I'm in here
No,
tonight.
no,
I
no.
actually thought your jealousy question was going somewhere else, like maybe this one's spending more time with somebody else more or whatever.
It's
You know
a
what I
bunch of
mean?
them motherfuckers. They ain't even
But
got the defeat.
well, I mean, but
Actually,
oh, go ahead.
if you guys really want to know the truth,
Mhm.
I don't mind being by myself. So if he wants to spend more
I
time,
know
I'm like,
that's right. I know that's
go,
right.
What you say? Just
go,
let
no,
them go
honey.
ahead.
Yep, I love
It's
it.
less stuff I got to deal with. So
I
you go on,
love it.
spend as much time with her as you want.
Yes. I'm
Yeah, I can get
tired.
my nails done. I can soak
Yep.
in the tub. I can sit here and watch, Real Housewives of
Right.
Potomac or whatever,
So this
and,
worked out for
not
you
be
great.
bothered.
Yep. I like
Yes,
it.
it did.
It's a team. It honestly is a team. But hey,
Yeah.
and I just want to. There was something you just said, Holly, that made me just to clarify once again. When it comes down to the sex, right? Because remember, not all of these 7 people are sleeping with each other, right? So
Right.
that it's
Right.
segmented. So just keep that in mind as
Right.
well. So
Yeah, because
so it's not
Foundation has her original husband number 1,
and
and
hubby number
then
2,
Mhm.
and
the
that's it.
lady, the Oso,
Oh
and then the Oso husband.
no,
No?
Foundation Saint
Right.
is
Saint.
her hubby number 1 and hubby
Okay.
number 2.
Mhm.
That's it.
And
That's
that's it.
Oh.
yeah. And then hubby number 1 is Saint, and then the Oso that what we're calling Oso so far.
You ain't like also husband? He don't look good.
We tried to date, but we found out that we were like with her, we were just better as friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
By the way,
we
Holly is
we just
nosy.
But see, that kind of get
no,
people a
that's all right.
perspective
I
though,
know.
because people be like, "Oh, they out fucking." She don't
Right.
even like this
Yeah.
man.
That is the one thing that I am trying to stress throughout and
Yeah.
bring us back to, because I hate that even with when we start talking about just sexual lifestyles or whatever, people
Mhm.
always take it back to sex. So like, if it's a homosexual thing, oh, they're this or what, I could be a virgin and still identify as homosexual, right?
Mhm.
So
Right?
if we have to start taking it back. Like the bed that 5 minutes does not define so much stuff.
That's
So
true.
and I keep putting it up saying 5 minutes. I know some of y'all out here getting it in. But anyway, so I just want to make sure that we kind of acknowledge relationships are complicated and complex, and there are a lot of components. A lot of people want companionship, teamwork,
Exactly.
building
Yeah.
bonds, and all of
And I
that.
think that's what's
So,
It's
important too. That's kind of right up there with sex, just the companionship. Because,
yes,
like she said, they better off
for a
as
lot of people,
friends.
it's more important. So,
Yeah.
it's like I said earlier, when you're 80 years old
yeah,
and you can't have sex anymore, what are you guys going to talk about?
absolutely.
I'm gonna play
Because
with it.
the only thing you guys have bonded on is bumping your uglies together, and now you can't do that.
That's
Right.
true.
Yep. And those relationships,
So
by the way, eventually you find that you don't even like a person or
Mhm.
whatever, and you're miserable in your
like,
old age. So,
because you don't have to like a person to have sex with you.
right. Isn't that the truth? Yep.
You know,
I gotta
you
have a
can
little
hate
something.
somebody real good. So
So now that we've made it this far, there have been, so I did a post on Facebook in advance of this discussion, and I asked people, the only thing they knew is that we were going to be talking about poly love and that there were 7 people involved. They didn't know the dynamics or anything like that. Now, a lot of the questions that people had have been answered, but I'm going to go through the questions. If it's some that are answered, I may mention them and just move quickly past them. Very first question was, what are the sleeping around? And by the way, let me say this. You already know that there are going to be there's going to be a common thread of those types of questions, because again, that's what the first thing that people think of. But in either case, so the very first question we got was, what are the sleeping arrangements? So we've answered that. We now have a better understanding that.
Wait. I'm sorry. Do you change the sheets every time, or you just like
Well, remember,
because
I would say
everybody's in their own room
that's
unless
what I
they
was just
want to
about to
switch.
say. Yeah, and it would be no different than what you do with Jordan, whatever, right? So
No, we keep it on there for a couple of
okay.
days.
I'm gonna leave it. Okay, moving on. So,
hey, some people like to marinate in their love. It's all right.
I do not, by the way. So we're gonna put that out there. Now this next question, Saint, this one sounds a little harsh, but I want to ask, because A, I know you can handle the question. And B, I know that this is not the case, but again, it speaks to the sort of the perceptions that people have. And Holly, it looks like you know which question I'm about to ask. Okay, so all right. So the question is, and again, we know that this is not you, but I just want you to hear the question because this is what people think when it comes to poly relationships. So, what's so broken in her? And by the way, the her is you that they're talking about. So it says, what's so broken in her that she either feels like one person isn't enough or that she's not enough for one person? And again, this is somebody who does not know, had not heard the dynamic dynamics of 7 people, and she may have thought that it was, sister wives or whatever. So,
Yeah.
so I will say
But
that
I think that her opinion will change after she hears.
I believe so too. Yes.
now I understand, and like you said, it's the perception.
Hmm.
There's nothing broken,
Yes.
you know. Uh, I wish people could understand. Not everybody. Okay, for me, it is a very selfish thing to look at somebody and go, "You have to be my 100%.
Hmm.
You have to be." That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody because no matter what, they're never going to be your 100%. They're never going to fill every hole that you need. And I guess that's a wrong analogy. I shouldn't say hole. They won't. They can't. Let's put every puzzle piece. They can't be every puzzle piece in the puzzle. There's going to be some pieces that are going to come from somebody else, and it's okay. And that's all right to go, hey, I love you, but I really like, I'm a big nerdy. I like sci-fi. You can't stand it. I like going to nerd conventions and I like doing this and you don't like doing that. But I'm with this person and we love to do those things together. We like to go to the conventions. We like to go fishing. We like to do the things that you don't like to do. Whereas your second mate goes and does the things with you that I don't like to do.
Right.
Because she likes those things. So they help with those little gaps or little holes that might be there that aren't getting filled. And instead of pretending that this person fills those holes and eventually, maybe down the road, cheating, maybe not physically, it could be emotionally, it could be, mentally, you could just be thinking about somebody else because they're actually, when you talk to them, they're filling that void for you at the time. And so it's not about being broken
at all.
It's about understanding that I can't expect one person to fill the whole puzzle because it just isn't realistic.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that we have to, as grown folks, we have to be able to respect that different people love and operate differently from the way you do, and that's okay.
That's true.
Here,
And I say this to people: monogamy works for some people, and that if it works for you, that's great. I'm not trying to tell you not to be monogamous or tell you to go run out and do this. I just want people to do what makes them happy, and as long as you are consenting, you're an adult, you should be no shame.
Right.
And going, hey, I love more than one person. I'm in a relationship with more than one person. Yeah. And we're all consenting adults and we take care of each other and it's okay.
Indeed. Yep. So, that's what like I said, I just wanted to make sure that we express that point. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next question. And again, this is one that once this person has heard this discussion would have answered. But who's the odd man out? Excuse me, who's the odd man or odd woman out? Speaking with 7, because they were thinking that, well, it had to be, maybe they were all paired up. So I think they'll understand then the dynamics there.
Yeah, there's, it can, a polycule can look like anything.
Yes.
It can be a triangle, it can be a square, it can be an octagon.
Yeah.
It just, just depends.
You guys are close to that octagon.
Yeah. We don't have there's no set relationship.
Right.
It's what you want it to be and what you make it to be. Because like I said earlier, some people are platonic and they don't have relations, but they fill each other's needs in some way.
This next one I will blast past it real fast, but I'm mentioning it because this is once again this perception that people had. First of all, I think he is joking when he said this, but he basically says, "Where can I get some of these freaks from?" And again, the reason I'm pointing that out is because again, people have this idea that it's just this big, 24/7 orgy or something or whatever.
Might be
So
a group for
Yeah,
that.
so
and
It's a group for everything.
right, yeah,
He need to go look for
there
that
are
group.
groups for that. So
there is groups for that. Yes.
yeah. Another one I will add, they had a series of questions like, which have been answered, is it all
Mhm.
girl, all female, all male or whatever. But one of the questions is who's calling the shots? And I think that probably stems from this idea of maybe what's the sister wives like there's a husband and 6
And there's
wives
a
and
hierarchy,
right,
and
yeah. So I think that's what,
yeah,
but I mhm,
what we practice is called tabletop poly, where we all come together and we discuss stuff together as a family,
mhm.
because whatever's going to happen is going to affect us all, and we all need to have that input and knowledge so that we can make a decision as a family.
Yep, I love it.
So when you don't agree on things, like what's the end result, or like is it a voting system, or
Majority rules.
yeah,
No.
majority rules type of thing?
Pretty much majority rules.
Mm,
You can be outvoted, but you still get a vote.
yeah.
Okay.
And I would imagine on most things, you probably are not necessarily like-minded, or all on one accord for everything. But I would imagine most folks, when they get together, are similarly minded folks. So I would imagine those.
I've been like, I
I,
started this barbecue business. I said we
Right?
eat macaroni,
right.
baked macaroni.
So, I would imagine those are probably few and far between.
Yeah. I will put my foot down. We are not putting no raisins and no damn potato salad.
See what I'm saying? I knew I liked her.
That brings me to my friend Beanie's question: is she white? So we have established that you are not.
Everybody else
However,
is.
I am actually, because I want them to understand what I am.
Mhm.
I am not white. No, I am multiracial.
Mhm.
My mother's passed since, but my mother was Mexican and Apache,
Mhm.
and my biological father was Black and Irish.
Yep. Very good.
So I do have freckles and I have some red hair.
But if you get pulled over, your ass black, right? That's how
Yeah,
they gonna
Well,
be.
there's
yeah,
that.
There we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, you know what it is. One drop of blacky black.
You got it. I
Exactly.
was thinking it. I was about to
Mhm.
say. I was
So,
waiting until you two finished, and I was going to say it.
mhm, mhm.
But that, by the way, obviously is separate in and of itself. So obviously
Yes,
there are multiracial people in all types of relationships. So that part is just
yeah.
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
I will say I will give credit to one person in particular, Marnisha, who asked some. She gave a list of like 12 questions, and these were very good questions. The reason I'm not going to
Mhm.
read any of them, but the reason I'm going to give her some credit is because she asked all things that I knew we would be talking about. So she was very just
Wow.
curious about, how things work and so on. Couple more. I will say that I think that's the end of the questions. One person wanted to make sure that that these questions, because they were looking at them as like, okay, these questions are offensive, some of them or whatever, and I assured her, I said, listen, I the reason I reached out to Saint is because I knew she could handle
Mhm.
these types of questions, and because she does such a good job of educating us on the poly love, right?
Yeah.
So but there were people looking out for you as well, saying like, how dare you ask that question and so on. And but like I said, I knew for a fact that you could handle it, and this is all in the interest of educating and informing folks about a different way of life from what they may be used to. So So that is that.
Yeah.
Any last? Oh yes,
And
go ahead.
I was going to just say, I want to thank, the people that were, looking out for me
Hmm.
with the questions. I appreciate it. But I promise you, I'm a big girl, and this isn't my first time, with these kind of questions. So you can go ahead and ask what you want. I don't get easily offended.
Yep.
And I love giving knowledge and information and just sharing so that maybe if there is somebody out there who is thinking about it, they don't have to feel like it's shameful or they're the only one and that they have to do it in secret. There are groups, there are places that and people that you can talk to that can help you and guide you in the right way.
Yep. I love it. Well, I think you did a great job of explaining poly love. And at the top of the show, I asked, well, would Jimmy consider a poly relationship?
Mm.
And I will say this: I'm not seeking a poly relationship, but I'm not actually. Saint is one of the reasons that sort of opened my eyes to it as well, and for you started on this path because there was a medical situation there. Holly, we've talked about on the show, I have some limitations sexually that I'm whatever, right? And I had said, for instance, we have the top bottom thing, right? And what happens if, somebody is like, you know what, this is somebody I love, and that is something that's important to me, and it looks painful. So I said, no. Anyway, so that might be a serious consider, and I've thought about it in the past before, and like you were saying, you have one partner that is, who's gonna um talk about watch Star Trek with me,
Right.
because my ex, he was Golden Girls. That's all he watched. But you think he wants to watch Star Trek or Star Wars and all this sci-fi stuff that I watch?
Right.
No, right? Well, you never know. In this case, with three, there's a chance that
It's
or
something for
whatever.
everybody.
And yeah, and for again, so many people get focused on the sex, and that's not as big of a deal for me. I'm into relationship building and
Companionship. Yeah.
companionship and so on, right?
You
So
are.
yeah, so I think that could work. So my answer to the question is, though I'm not, actively looking to become a part of a polycule, so don't start DMing me and inviting me and all of that,
I
right?
got some
Right.
friends for my friend.
Right. So,
Jimmy ready to get
but
in.
I am not opposed to it, so I'm not going to say it's a no for me. It sounds now. I'll ask you, Holly. It sounds. I mean, and of course, you are already married and in a monogamous relationship, so it sounds like it would not work for you, and that's okay
Mm-hmm.
as long as you respect other folks who've made that choice, and that's
Right.
the okay. Yep. So good. So then that's all I could ask for. So Saint, thank you once again for joining us. I enjoyed hearing your story, and I really think it's going to help some folks out. So any last thoughts from you, Holly?
Yes, I just want to say I came into this conversation with an open mind, even though I have my own opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I have some crazy questions, but I feel like once I get that out, because that's like you said, we're doing this for knowledge, we're doing this for educational
Yeah.
purposes. Once I'm able to get an understanding of that, I think that, and then you were so nice. And she understood.
Yes.
Like you said, she definitely can handle herself.
Yep.
So it wasn't, you never want to be disrespectful because what you and what is it that we said in the old episodes? What you eat don't make me shit
What you eat don't make me shit.
at all. But I think you were wonderful, and I think that once people understand and listen to it and get her story, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, like it's not what they expected at all.
Right.
It's better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Saint, I think you've done a wonderful thing here. I think you have helped to illuminate folks' thoughts on poly love. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. So today we talked about poly love with our special guest Saint, and we are going to go ahead and end here, but don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and our Sock Mob community is coming soon, so I want to make sure that everybody is ready for it, okay? All right, so thanks again for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next time.
Peace out.
Hanging around, but I don't have much to say to you.